Australian warship HMAS Toowoomba is on patrol in the troubled waters of the Persian Gulf. The mission? To combat smuggling and piracy. 6 tough months on a high-stakes mission in a volatile part of the world.
Where are you from? Pakistan? Iran?
Facing danger.
Abort for aircraft.
Pushed to their limits.
Get this done and so we can keep rolling.
I need to shut it down.
It's all in a day's work for the pirate patrol. HMAS Toowoomba is the first Australian warship to join a US-led combined task force, tackling the growing problem of piracy in the Persian Gulf region.
Off the Horn of Africa, in the middle of the world's busiest shipping lanes, heavily armed warships are playing a seafaring game of cat and mouse.
The pirates have a great business model that works for them. Seize ships, get ransom, make millions.
We are looking for vessels involved in trafficking people, trafficking narcotics and weapons. If ships do find themselves on this route, then there's a very good chance that we'll detect them. Just by being here, we provide a massive deterrent.
Stop starboard. Stop starboard. Yeah, got it.
Commander Ivan Ingham is the captain of HMAS Toowoomba. He took over the hot seat just 6 months ago.
It's a baptism of fire, but for me, it's my preference.
My ship, go! He's asking if it's the way to go, so.
Yeah, further.
To be operating at massive distances away from Australia, on the other side of the world, in a region of increased tension, brings unique challenges.
Toowoomba's anti-smuggling and piracy patrol covers nearly 3 million square kilometres of ocean, roughly equivalent to a third of the US. It's a busy international shipping zone, also populated by smaller fishing and cargo boats from neighbouring Somalia, Yemen, Iran and Pakistan. One of the main security tasks is to board and check any vessels suspected of smuggling or piracy. The helicopter, nicknamed Pegasus, is central to Toowoomba's boarding and interception capability. At the core of each boarding team are the Navy clearance divers, elite troops specially trained for precisely this kind of activity.
As clearance divers in the Navy, we pride ourselves on being team orientated and motivated, and we push each other. We're all very competitive. Someone's doing something, everybody's doing something, and they're involved. So I think that kind of rubs off across the board on all facets of our experience on board the warship.
Any situation involving dangerous close encounters will require their services. Reports are coming in of fishing dhows and skiffs, high-powered speedboats, coming uncomfortably close to international shipping. Skiffs are the favoured transport of pirates. HMAS Toowoomba is sent to investigate. The boarding teams swing into action.
Yeah, once you're in the boat and you're away from the ship, you know, and you got your weapon loaded and you're ready to go, it's like training to play in a grand final and actually getting a gig.
No sign of the reported skiffs.
Did you want to go alongside, Coach?
But with this dhow, it's a friendly welcome for the Toowoomba boarding team. These men appear to be simple fisherfolk, and a search of the dhow reveals nothing illegal. But they do seem to have a lot more fuel than they need for themselves. And the dhow has an internal engine, so what do they need the outboard for? It could be that they supplement their livelihood by selling the fuel, and the outboard is simply a spare part. But the boarding team have their doubts.
If they're containing fuel, or they have some spare outboard engines as well, fairly obvious that they'll be used to power smaller vessels, so whether that is just for fishing or piracy means, impossible to tell.
Commander Ingham believes that there are pirates in the area and that the dhows are the key to finding them. Toowoomba gears up for a long day of intelligence gathering.
It's got 2 stories, one white stripe along it, ALIJUT.
Another dhow with excess fuel and towing spare skiff speedboats. It seems highly suspicious. The boarding teams hit the water again. They're looking for contraband or arms and ammunition.
Boarding party's been invited on board.
They also want to find out why some of the dhows appear to have excess fuel or personnel on board.
There are some boats out here that just go around to all the fishing boats, give them fuel and take fish. But looks like there's too many people on this one for that. And it looks pretty suspect to me.
Suspicious it may be, but the boarding teams find nothing illegal.
By doing a boarding of this nature, we get to reinforce our presence, gather intelligence, talk to these guys, find out where they've come from, what they've seen.
Good ships, big ships. Steer 243. Course 243, sir. Very good.
Toowoomba keeps moving and searching.
Visually, this is a Yemeni fishing dhow. Then we have fuel drums on the deck.
Red 10, range 1.5 nautical miles. Showtime has been passed and both ribs are in search.
That cave is invited on board.
A pattern is emerging.
I see a lot of fuel drums, way too many personnel for the size of the boat, lack of fishing nets and fishing floats. To me, it only adds up to one thing. There's the skips come alongside this vessel, refuel, get ammunition if needed, and resupply of personnel, and then go off and make their attacks on vessels.
Do they have any weapons on board?
The concern is that some dhows are acting as motherships, keeping the pirates supplied and replenished at sea.
They don't have any weapons. Okay. Midship steer 080.
With so much fuel on deck, some of these dhows are potentially unexploded bombs. The boarding teams are understandably nervous.
Hey lads, make sure none of them smoke while we're on him. We off? You good? Yeah. Thank you. Nice smoking on that.
We have another dhow which is about 5 nautical miles away, or just shy of 9 kilometres. We're doing the maximum speed the ship can do at the moment, about 56 kilometres an hour.
They've boarded 5 dhows so far today, each operation taking anything up to 2 hours. And they're not finished yet. They know they're out there somewhere, but those pirates remain elusive. It's a frustrating game of cat and mouse for HMAS Toowoomba, but Commander Ingham isn't deterred.
Importantly, it allows my boarding teams to develop a sense of normality, so when they meet these guys they can gauge reactions, they can see what innocent guys are carrying in their boats, they can see what they're dressed like, they can see the manner of their response to normal civil courtesies that they exchange, and they'll go back to their fishing community and say they saw an Australian warship.
In the ongoing struggle against pirates and smugglers, HMAS Toowoomba faces a new problem. Pegasus is grounded.
The aircraft has 4 rotor blades. Each set of blades has a set of weights. One of those sets of weights has sheared off one of the blades. That has made the aircraft unserviceable.
Without it, Commander Ingham's operational capabilities could be severely compromised.
So if you'd have been flying for another hour and this would have parted and this would have ripped off, what would have happened to that rotor blade?
It could have damaged the blade, and it could have damaged the hub, which is even worse than what we got because it would have required a whole hub change out.
The aircraft's non-mission capable, non-flyable until we get that bracket.
He needs the problem fixed straight away.
What's the likelihood we can get another one of these in theatre?
When things start to go wrong, if you haven't got a robust plan, if you're not on top of your game, and you haven't got margins to cope with things that go wrong, that's when the pressure really starts, because then it becomes overwhelming.
All right, we've got a bit of work to do, haven't we?
Until the spare part arrives, Toowoomba has to make do without the chopper, which is key to operations. The first test is the RAS, replenishment at sea.
Camp Sir, ladies and gentlemen, this is the RAS Evolutions brief for this afternoon. The RAS period is from 1500 to 1800. The RAS is with USNS Tippecanoe, who is currently at green 60.
Toowoomba and its supply ship travel side by side, connected by high-pressure fuel pipelines. Both vessels need to maintain constant speed and stay precisely on course to avoid a collision or rupturing the pipelines. While Toowoomba takes on fuel from the supply ship, the helicopter would usually transfer food and other supplies. But with the chopper grounded, they'll have to be moved by rope. It's a much slower process. The crew are set for a long, hot, heavy day.
Seems to be all working well. I mean, it's the first time we've done it in a while, so the stores are all coming on. The boys are working well.
There's an added complication. The replenishment operation commenced late in the day and won't finish until after dark.
Oh, it's getting easy.
As the light fades and people tire, the danger increases. Something's gone wrong. One of the high-pressure pipelines has burst, spewing highly flammable fuel into the ocean. With two vessels travelling so close together, one spark could spell disaster. The pump has to be shut down. That pipeline can no longer be used.
Roger, point 4, pumping has stopped.
The refuelling operation will now finish a whole lot later. And Toowoomba's long day just got longer. What with fuel spills, broken helicopters and elusive pirates, HMAS Toowoomba badly needs a good news day.
Good afternoon, sir. Informing you that we have had a report of a suspect vessel within 6 nautical miles of your current position. The description of the suspect vessel is a small skiff, orange in colour, with 8 personnel on board, and the personnel may be armed.
At last, Could this be the moment they've been waiting for? A distress call has come in from a cargo ship threatened by suspected pirates.
We are 10 nautical miles to the west of your position, closing.
HMAS Toowoomba takes up the chase.
Very fast, Come left. Come left 025 off to watch.
With so many navies in the area, Commander Ingham is keen to get there first and get a slice of the action on behalf of Australia.
Counter-piracy or counter-terrorism operations, or whatever job the government wishes us to do, is immeasurably important, because we are on the world stage as far as the Navy's concerned. By our performance, they measure how effective and how well trained and how well equipped and how reliable the Royal Australian Navy is. So it's a very, very heavy responsibility that weighs upon us.
Roger, Phil, I get the OXO to update 151 that we are the closest unit.
A craft matching the description of the suspect pirate skiff has shown up on the long-range surveillance cameras.
Sure it's the right one?
It's the one that everybody's reporting for.
Roger, it appears that we possibly have the skiff visual on top light, forward top light, right ahead, so we're going to maintain course and investigate.
If they are pirates, then it's likely that they'll be heavily armed. As Toowoomba prepares to intercept, nobody is taking any chances.
Captain PY from 151, we have been given a permission to conduct a compliant boarding on the skiff.
Yeah, Captain, Roger.
Australian headquarters confirms their backing for the intercept.
Skiff now bears 020, sir.
It's Toowoomba's take, and it's action stations.
On the bridge, pipe away, starboard seaboat. Quickly.
They're first on the scene, and they're going in. They know from the radio reports that guns have been spotted on the skiff. The boarding teams face the very real possibility of an armed response. They've intercepted the suspected pirate skiff. The boarding teams need to assert control and search for any evidence of wrongdoing. The men are protesting their innocence. They're well armed and potentially dangerous.
47 visually. 4 weapons sighted. 5 weapons sighted. 5 AK-47s and 1 RPG.
Yeah, an amazing amount of firepower for such a small boat and a small amount of people. Very, very interesting. And they're all in working order.
waxaan u sidaynaa Soomaaliya dawlad male waa la islaahay qabiil baa la sudaya
It's late afternoon and the light is fading. Now they've detained the men, they need to work out quickly what to do with them.
So at present we're still searching, gaining names, identifications, and as much intelligence as we can gather at this point.
They might well be heavily armed men in international waters, but they haven't actually been caught in the act of piracy.
Where's the 5?
Without any clear evidence of wrongdoing, Commander Ingham decides to disarm them so they are no longer an immediate threat.
Right, let's confirm all those weapons have been made safe. Okay, get your rounds.
And he can use this as an intelligence gathering opportunity.
What I want to do before the light goes down is I want to take a photo of each and every one of them, yeah? One at a time? One at a time, please.
Next one.
The weapons are confiscated and the ammunition dumped.
All rounds, out of magazines.
And with the help of the interpreter, they try to learn as much as they can about these men.
Next one.
Back on board Toowoomba, Commander Ingham has made up his own mind.
Innocent fishermen don't go around with large numbers of assault rifles and rocket-propelled grenades in their boats. Of course, under questioning, those people are going to deny that they're doing anything illegal.
Finally, at the end of a long and tense day, the men are sent on their way.
I don't believe your story. I think you are pirates and you tried to attack a ship. If we see you here again, there will be a harsh punishment. We're watching you.
After all the excitement of the high seas encounter, it's another good news day. A British Navy helicopter arrives with the spare parts for Toowoomba's chopper.
We're pretty hopeful that when we get that spare bit, we'll be able to fix the helicopter up in short order, and by tomorrow evening, or we're going to be back into the flying program again.
But there's a problem. One of the spare parts is not the right one.
4 parts we're expecting, 3 we got, 1 we didn't, and it's in a critical position. It's a $40 million helicopter held up by a $40 part. It's a shame. That's why the cookie crumbles.
Is it the right number?
Right number, right location, different part.
It looks like Pegasus won't be going anywhere anytime soon. It's a huge blow for pilot David O'Toole. He's to be redeployed at the next shore stop, so he's probably already flown his last mission in Pegasus.
Pretty disappointed. My time at sea's come to a sort of an end. It would have been nice to go out with a couple of more flights under the belt. Unfortunately, that'll be my last remembrance of her.
It's now 4 months since HMAS Toowoomba left Australia. They're over halfway through their 6-month deployment, and the adrenaline rush of recent days has been replaced by thoughts of home and loved ones.
Thank you for the signal, light and training.
Navigator Jonathan Beattie has been away from home often with his job, but now it's different.
The first time that I did and the second time in the Navy that I did a long deployment, I went away without a care in the world. So that was easy. I mean, this time there is somebody waiting at home for me, and every day closer to getting home is a day less that I'm away from her.
Take these people over there and get them out of those fire suits.
Old Navy hand Adam Baskett has also made sacrifices for his career.
I had a girlfriend and she dumped me when I got back from the Gulf last time, so it's really hard to have a relationship in the Navy. She was a great girl. She just didn't want to put up with it anymore.
We've got the newest addition to the Howard family, young Brianna McKenzie.
Second in command, Simon Howard left behind his wife and 10-day-old baby daughter.
So this photo here was taken the day before we sailed, and then the next photo was taken only last Saturday, so 2 days ago, and Amanda sent this through. That's how much she's grown in the time. She seems to have developed a personality, and she's focusing on things, she's looking around, she's very aware of what's going on around her. It's just magnificent. I just can't wait to get back to her.
Hi, honey.
Samantha Whitfield's boyfriend is also in the Navy. Their ships passed as he finished his deployment and Sam started hers. As a result, Sam won't be seeing him for the best part of a year.
Can't wait to come home.
Love you. Take care. Talk to you again soon. Bye.
Toowoomba is headed north to Al Aqaba in Jordan for a much-needed shore break. On the way, the wide open space of the Arabian Sea and the Gulf of Aden narrows considerably. Negotiating the tighter seaways and the maritime traffic demands absolute concentration, particularly at night. But tonight, one sailor's concentration will fail completely, with potentially devastating results.
Finish Captain, go to port 270. Finish Captain, go to port 27021.
Leading Seaman Bar, reporting your total, sir. One person to be seen, one person present.
Very good, leader. Let's form the table, please.
One of the officers of the watch has been summoned.
Salute!
Prosecutor, read the charges.
Sir, at approximately 0245, the quartermaster, Maidstone Sadiq Ahmed, in the helms, Elson King observes sitting in a navigator's chair on the bridge. At that time, sir, Elson King stated that, "I think he's snoring." The quartermaster then said, "Sir," with no response. He then said, "Sir," several more times, further no response, sir. I then shined the torch onto his face, with still no response.
Sleeping on the job when you're driving the ship is a serious charge. He's in big trouble.
On this charge, how do you plead?
Plead guilty recorded, sir.
I therefore find you guilty and convict you.
Finding of guilty recorded, sir. Ho! Off cap!
Does the defence wish to make an address in mitigation of the punishment?
I do, sir. What I can tell you, sir, has gained some degree of self-awareness from this. He has learned his limits with respect to fatigue, and I can only hope that he takes away from this a greater emphasis on time and fatigue management. My hope is that he takes this as a wake-up call and uses this as the motivation to perform consistently at the required standard, that he continues to strive to attain his bridge warfare certificate and further his career aspirations. Thanks, sir.
Thank you, X-Ray. Do you have anything to say for yourself?
No, I'm not sure.
You should have. I don't understand how you could fall asleep when you're driving the ship, when you were vested with the responsibility of the safety of the ship and the 200 people on the ship. How did you fall asleep?
That's right, I wasn't paying attention to my fatigue levels. I allowed myself personally to succumb to it before I started.
I've decided to impose upon you the maximum fine I am entitled to impose, the sum of 7 days' pay. I also impose upon you a severe reprimand. You need to understand that I've lost my trust in you, and on completion of today's formalities I will begin administrative action against you, which is likely to have significant consequences. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
These proceedings are now completed.
Pay attention. You have been awarded a fine of 7 days' pay and a severe reprimand. On cap. Salute.
As a result, the officer will be sent back to Australia with serious consequences for his Navy career.
I believe I have high standards, and I try to get my team to meet those high standards. So sometimes you need to be firmer with some people than you do with others.
Yard! Ho! Lower 2, 3, boat!
You know, we've been at sea effectively working non-stop for a month without a break.
Away starboard seaboat.
Some people work for long days. They'd start very early and finish very late. And other people work around the clock in short breaks. And there's different levels of stress and fatigue that gather there.
Mount 51, engage.
The 6-month deployment has turned into an endurance test. And for some, shore leave can't come soon enough.
This is Australian warship Toowoomba. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Can you give me your vessel name?
Starboard engine ahead 10%. Stop port.
Jordan. Finally, it's time to relax. It's also a chance to connect with some of the ancient history and rich culture of the region they're operating in.
Here we are at the beginning of the monuments. So we see some caves around here. Those caves around here, carved by Nabatean. Look over there now.
All right.
So that's the best view of the famous monuments.
The people want you to be there, experience their culture. This is, you can't describe how amazing this is. Thousands of years of history standing in front of us.
It doesn't really matter where it is, just to get off the ship and go for a walk that's longer than 118 metres. And sort of mingle with a slightly different crowd, you know, when you're in the work environment, it's very, very hierarchical, but, you know, down here, you know, we're all the same age, we're all the same place in our lives.
We have kangaroo here.
Apparently this has got really good effects for your skin. Luckily I'm a boldy, so I can get it right in there.
Meanwhile, others immerse themselves in alternative aspects of local culture.
We leathered everything. Everything. I feel it cracking right now. Clean it off. Might have to do it. God, feels like my whole body is covered in water.
Jared Richard Bell, I baptise you in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Yeah, good to get off the ship for a while. Morale was pretty low. People started to get a bit, anxious, a bit on edge, with each other. It's good to get everyone out and brings the crew together.
Gangway!
Nice to meet you. Good evening, sir. Simon, how are you?
The Jordan stopover coincides with HMAS Toowoomba's 4th birthday.
It's 4 years since the ship was commissioned, and we get to share that moment with guests on board. It makes it a bit more memorable for us and a bit more memorable for them, I think.
This Gulf operation is not just a battle against smugglers and pirates, it's also a battle for hearts and minds in the region. Without local support, their mission will be almost impossible to achieve.
Ladies and gentlemen.
It's a massive obligation, and so you have to be aware of it to make sure that you fulfil that obligation properly.
I'd like to welcome you all on behalf of my officers and my sailors, and we very much appreciate you coming down to share the evening with us.
It's a great privilege to be able to go and command a ship in the Middle East. We only have one ship there at any one time.
You're only going to have one chance at this, so let's get out there and make it a good one. You stuff it up and you will definitely be in the next one.
Oh, no.
All right.
The crew of Toowoomba put on a display of pomp and ceremony.
You're representing your country at the end of the day. All right, time to get out there and shine.
We represent the country. So when they look at our ship, they think of Australia.
Guard! Inwards! Turn!
And I'm fiercely proud of this ship's reputation. I place great importance on it.
Guard! Reset!
And that's the message I keep trying to send to my sailors.
Guard! Mark! Guard! Make safe!
HMAS Toowoomba is back on the job, patrolling a notorious smuggling route in international waters off the coast of Iran. A passing Iranian warship drops by to say hello.
They sent us a message wishing us every success on our counter-piracy operations.
A dhow has crossed their path and it's not responding to radio contact.
This is Coalition Warship L156 calling you Channel 16, over.
The flag is obscured, so they're also unable to tell which country the dhow is from.
I can't see a flag, but that's not to say there's not one there. We're still a fair distance away.
So my intention will be to launch the starboard sea boat first.
Toowoomba seeks approval from Command HQ for a boarding, and the inflatables are launched. The boarding teams are ready to go, but HQ orders them to hold fire.
Their concern at the moment is that it might be an Iranian vessel. If it is Iranian, they're very reticent to conduct boardings of Iranian vessels, particularly in these waters.
Boarding an Iranian dhow close to Iranian waters with the Iranian Navy in the area is potentially a very sensitive issue. In 2007, a British Navy boarding party was captured by the Iranian Navy and held captive for 13 days. So it's a delicate balancing act. HMAS Toowoomba has a job to do, but it needs local cooperation to make it work.
I request your language you speak fluently, sir, over.
I'm language only Persian, little English.
Finally, the dhow is responding.
See if you can ask them what their port of registry is.
Sir, I request your port of registry, over.
Simple, please, I'm understand. Simple, please.
Sir, where did you come from, over?
Port Shabar, I'm country Iran.
Iran.
It is Iranian.
I've been to this region a number of times, so I am aware and sensitive to the environment that I'm operating in. We don't want to hamper, hinder, offend people going about their lawful business on the high seas.
All right, that's it. Right ahead. Let's go.
Despite the potential sensitivities, Command HQ finally gives the go-ahead. The boarding teams move in. A wrong move or even a wrong word here could backfire badly and spark a diplomatic incident.
You speak English? Speak English?
The boarding teams search the dhow under the scrutiny of the Iranian crew. Toowoomba watches and waits.
Very good.
The search reveals nothing suspicious. The fishing boat is allowed to go on its way.
We don't seek to favour a particular nation or a particular type of vessel.
Goodbye.
If they meet our criteria that we have an interest in them, then we board them and determine that they are legitimate.
At last, with a new spare part picked up at port, the Seahawk helicopter is back in action, and not before time. It's needed for a medevac. Chef Jason Barker took a heavy fall in the kitchen and has a suspected broken arm or collarbone.
Slipped backwards and landed on my shoulder, so it hurt. Well, funny, why did everyone got to keep laughing at me all the time?
He needs an X-ray at the nearest land-based hospital.
Although we've got 200 very fit and healthy people, we live with that ever-present danger of somebody falling, breaking a limb or something, a bone, or resulting in a serious injury.
The chopper may be fixed, but now it looks like the crew are falling apart. A suspected gastric infection, picked up at the recent shore stop, has swept through the ship, affecting up to 10% of the crew.
How frequently are you getting these tummy cramps?
Yes, once every 3 to 4 minutes it was.
The last 48 hours since we've sailed, I'd put it at about a dozen people that have seen us, and for every person that sees us, usually there's a couple that don't. So there'd be quite a few cases on board the ship.
In this part of the world where hygiene is different, food is different, and people's resistance is different, we're actually quite susceptible.
Sorry, mate.
We live and work in such close proximity. People are touching ladders and doors and hatches. The ship's air conditioned, so germs and bugs travel around the ship really, really quickly. So even if you're absolutely fastidious about your hygiene, you can still be exposed.
When I was at PT, it felt like my muscles, would give up. They weren't really working. It was just, I guess, fatiguing rather quickly. And had a little bit of diarrhea, but yesterday about lunch, it started to get really bad. Just under the tongue for me, please.
If the virus gets out of control, it could cripple HMAS Toowoomba.
In the worst case scenario, if certain people were really adversely affected and they couldn't carry out their duties, the ship may not be able to be tasked and we may have to go back alongside or remove ourselves from the operation.
It's the last thing Commander Ingham wants right now.
Rightio guys, just make sure you're careful of the deck as well. It's pretty slippery this morning. Make sure you rehydrate and good luck. Okay, ready?
Still 2 months from the end of the deployment. He needs his ship and crew in good working order for the long haul.
I've got 193 people on the ship. If people are not well trained and well prepared and motivated, they can't do the job. So people, for me, is the key, together with the ship and the training. That's where the capability comes from. As the CO, I'm the conductor of the orchestra. Ultimately, I'm responsible for everything that happens on the ship. So I'm the keeper of the capability.
Next time on Pirate Patrol. Dead in the water. A propeller snag brings the warship to a halt. Toowoomba rides shotgun in bandit country. Hijinks on the high seas. And temper tantrums on the homeward run.
Go on, second. Let's talk Auckland, mate. Shut